Guys, I can't believe of what I just watched. My eyeballs are happy. I'm happy. My spirit's happy. This was the best episode ever. So much was given, so much fan service, and yes, you know who showed up. If you want to know who you know who is, stay tuned.
This is the way.
Greetings, citizens of the galaxy. Welcome to Swordcode Gaming.
Welcome.
I believe the Force has guided you to me.
Who we truly are is defined by our actions.
Episode was pretty epic. Pretty fucking epic. Now, yes, most of you have already seen this. You're going to pepper the comments section with how I was wrong. I should have known that we were going to get a nice little fan service for Christmas. That was a Lucasfilm's gift. And I'm going to be showing a little bit of the episode with pausing in parts, moving certain things. Right now, in the very beginning, it starts off with Boba and the Mandalorian, Din Djarin, Cara Dune. They going after one of those executive tri-wing ships that has Dr. Pershing, who's on his way to Moff Gideon's ship, with two pilots there not wearing masks. Go figure. I mean, we usually see TIE pilots with masks. I don't remember those executive shuttle, like the shuttle Vader, or if you played Force Unleashed Starkiller would wear. They're trying to shoot it down. Well, not shoot it down, really just disable it and capture Dr. Pershing. And they successfully kind of do so. Boba launches an ion missile and it pretty much leaves everything inoperable. One of the pilots I've seen before, I remember, so you'll see. So they enter. He's like, look, we just want to take you captive, Din Djarin says. And one of them gets real antsy. He starts provoking him. He's hoping to take everybody with him. He's a real Imperial diehard. And they see Dr. Pershing puts a gun to his head. Cara Dune comes out. And the other guy's like, oh, no, we'll tell you everything. The one holding the gun starts really taunting Cara Dune. As one guy's cooperating, he gets blasted. This guy's taunting Cara Dune about how he was aboard the Death Star and how, and she goes, which one? And he's like, well, I know where you're from. You're from Alderaan, and there was a small price to pay to stop terrorism, and she freaking blasts him in the face. Then they capture Dr. Pershing. They go meet Koska Reeves. I don't know where they are exactly, but you see the cruiser that they took before. And it looks like, oh yeah. And if you look at the ship, it's the Mandalorian ship that we saw Bo-Katan have. Actually looks similar to the guy, I guess it's an Old Republic style ship because it's larger version of what looks like Anakin and Obi-Wan used to have. It's different, of course, but it looks very similar, I guess, of that area. So they found him in a cantina. They found Koska Reeves and Bo-Katan. And I don't know what happened to the third guy. I guess he's no longer there. Maybe he was just off on some other mission. But, he says he pretty much tries to recruit them. He's like, I need your help. You took my kid. I'm going to get him back. And so they hear everything's all good until they hear Boba Fett say something. He's like, you're a clone. You're not a Mandalorian. And all of a sudden they start fighting. Koska Reeves gets in her face, Sasha Banks. They're like, calm down, and they start fighting each other. I don't know, man. I really like how Boba looks. He looks super badass in his armor. So anyway, basically you got Koska Reeves and Boba fight a little bit. Bo-Katan says, you can bring me because all Bo-Katan, as we all know, wants a Darksaber. So you can bring me to Moff Gideon and the Darksaber. I'm on board. So they decide to come along. They're trying to formulate a plan. Dr. Pershing is telling them that, well, yeah, they won't have a lot of people, and well, no. Cara Dune is saying they won't have a lot of people, and Dr. Pershing is letting them know that, well, that although that is true, here's something you haven't thought about. He has two complements of Dark Troopers, so I mean they more than make up for their. And you find out during this time that they're phase 3 Dark Troopers. And you remember in a video I talked about, I thought they were Dark Troopers, even though most people were trying to say they weren't. Hey, look, I wasn't right about everything, but I was right about some things. And if you go back to Jedi, I said even with Luke Skywalker, I said there was a possibility, but I wouldn't like it to be Luke. You know, I'd like to see other people, but it was Luke, and we'll go to that in the end of it. So, spoilers of that. This is a spoiler review. So, Luke Skywalker. I was talking about him. Going back to it. They're making a plan to raid Moff Gideon's ship. And so the Dark Troopers are going to be there. They have to deal with them. So they come up with an idea of having Boba. They're in right now the cruise that they took. No, they have the shuttle that they took. They captured from Dr. Pershing, Fennec, Bo-Katan, Koska Reeves, played by Sasha Banks, and the Mandalorian Din Djarin. Oh man, I can't. Cara Dune. They're all in the shuttle, and they have Boba Fett shooting in the back, and they're saying Mayday, Mayday. They're having distress call. Moff Gideon looks at it. He's like, so I don't trust it. So he decides to launch ties, and they're tied to. So they launch ties, except they keep going forward, and they're like, look, please clear from the tie bay, and they decide to just come through, crash right through. So as soon as he gets close, all the troopers come in and go, hey, you guys are alright? And they just get blasted. You know, it was pretty awesome seeing Koska Reeves doing that rocket knee, and they're just Fennec Shand, Cara Dune, Koska Reeves. They're all trying. They're pretty much shooting up the place and being distractions, so Din Djarin could come and recapture the child. So Moff Gideon said, let's go, let's launch the Dark Troopers. Oh, the Dark Troopers are being launched. It's interesting because it reminds me of the way Jon Favreau did Iron Man. You know, like the suits light up, you would suddenly see that. So, and Din Djarin, the Mandalorian, is sneaking away, trying to find the child, and sure enough, he finds something waiting for him as he's sneaking around, and it's not the child, it is a whole bunch of Dark Troopers. And as they're beginning to escape, he just pretty much starts fighting one. This is a sight. Yo, look at that. Look at that. All those Dark Troopers. With the red eyes especially, it reminds you of Terminator, and a little bit of, it's just a little bit of Terminator, and you're getting vibes from Iron Man. So he turns the corner and he's like, oh, I'm almost there, and all of a sudden he looks and all the Dark Troopers are marching towards him. He's like, oh, no, and he's trying to lock them up, and sure enough, he's blasting them. One gets through and just blasts him right in the face. Not with a gun, he just punches him in the face. Mando's trying, he's just getting beat. And what he ends up doing, Din Djarin, is just taking the spear, his Beskar spear, and just going right through his neck. After trying the birds, after trying to set him on fire, and nothing really works, he just goes and disconnects his central processing unit from the rest of them, and that's pretty much it. Then after locking the rest up, he tries to suck them out, space them, and he's successful, so he thinks. So the rest of them work their way to the command center. while Moff Gideon is there waiting for him, the Darksaber, holding it right over the child, and explaining that the Darksaber has power. Din Djarin at first doesn't get it because he only cares about the child. So he's like, okay, Darksaber has power. Whoop-de-doo. I don't care. Just give me the kid, keep the saber. He's never really cared, but here's the interesting thing. So he he allows himself to be captured. He defeats. I think he allowed. At least I was thinking he allowed himself to be captured. They fight, and he brings the child to the command center. Bo-Katan's kind of just sad, not sad, but like shocked. She's like, oh, he didn't. And so I'm thinking if he to be spiteful was just doing that because he defeated Moff Gideon in combat and kind of took the Darksaber. So what happens is that he says she can't just accept. Moff Gideon's looking at him. You can't just accept it. It has to be won in battle. In order for her to wield the Darksaber again, she would need to defeat you in combat. So now Din Djarin is actually the rightful ruler of Mandalore. Moff Gideon's sitting there and just chuckling. He's like, oh, I yield. It's like the Darksaber doesn't have any power. The story does. Without that blade, goes, she's a pretender to the throne. And he tries to hand it to her, and she said she's right. And then there's the awesomeness, like the terror. He's like, well, perhaps you get another crack at it. Moff Gideon I was thinking in this episode when Moff Gideon would get defeated, because we all know the bad guys got to kind of lose. He would request help, and then you'd see Grand Admiral Thrawn, and Thrawn would say, you played your part well. What we have is all of a sudden you see all these bogies coming back, and it's, even though he got pretty much, Mando got beat up by one, he had a whole platoon of dark troopers that just jettisoned back in, even though they were spaced, and now they're marching to the command deck, and they're programmed not to harm Moff Gideon. So they're just, they're just stomping single file, and it's a sight to behold if you look at them. And all of a sudden, when there's no hope, you see an X-Wing. I mean, all the Mandalorians are gunned up, they're waiting, they're punching, and all of a sudden, and out of it, a Jedi dressed in black, wielding a green lightsaber. Yes, it is. It is Luke Skywalker, and it is amazing. He's cutting them down like nothing. They can't even touch him. They try to grab him. I looked for the credits too, and I was trying to find out if it was Sebastian Stan, like everybody thought it was going to be. It was just some stunt actor who had Mark Hamill's younger face, Luke Skywalker's face, digitally imposed on him. This was our Luke version of Vader in Rogue One. I don't know what it is, man. It's like somebody doing a stunt team, and like it's always a hallway scene, like Daredevil, where the stunt team had him in a hallway. You see, take a look at that. Bam, bam, bam. So they're watching this Jedi because they don't know it's Luke yet, but the rest of us know once you saw the green lightsaber, the dark robes, kind of the way he looked in Return of the Jedi. We know it's Luke. You don't see the face yet, but you see the platoon marching, and they kind of stop, and they're just waiting for him coming up the turbo lift. And all they're watching Grogu and Din Djarin are watching through a security monitor. The rest of the women are just Koska Reeves, Bo-Katan. They all have blasts put at the door. We just see him just take all of them out. He's just cutting through them and using the Force and pushing them back. It's just ridiculous. It also looked, I don't even know if Grogu was amplifying the Force. He had his hand right on the screen. That's what I was thinking for a second, that it was interesting too, Luke using Force Crush. But this is the kind of Luke that everyone wanted to see. in Return of the Jedi. Well, after Return of the Jedi, the Luke that was completely powerful in the Force. Lucasfilm and Kathleen Kennedy gave it to you all. All these people who are Kathleen Kennedy haters, remember, she's behind this. She gave this, even though it's kind of they're reforming canon yet again. So Din Djarin says, "Open the door," and they don't want to open. Here comes in a dark figure, and it's with a green lightsaber. Turns on his lightsaber, one black glove, reveals it to be Luke Skywalker. Let me tell you something. Once I saw the green lightsaber, once I saw the X-wing, I was like, no, it can't be. And then, sure enough, it was. And I tell you, it's something that most of us have wanted to see for a long time. So then, Luke Skywalker said, "I've come for him," and then Din Djarin says he doesn't want to go with you, and Luke says he wants to go, but he wants your permission. It's noticeable. The CGI is very noticeable, but I'm pretty sure most people are not gonna. It's very, very noticeable, but it's a deep fake, but it's a good deep, not a great deep, but it's a noticeable. And so Luke, before Luke takes Grogu, Din Djarin takes his helmet off for Grogu. He touches his helmet, and then he looks at him with his own eyes, and it's a really touching moment between like father and son. He touches him on his face, and you can see him smiling. Din Djarin talks to him, said it's gonna be okay. He kind of hugs his leg, and then he goes to him. You see R2-D2, which is pretty awesome. Luke picks him up. Here's something to think about too. Now that it left, they all are still aboard. You know what's crazy is that nobody's seen Din Djarin's face, and it's the first time. And it's so much. So he takes Din Djarin is now the rightful ruler of Mandalore. When you see over, Grogu's leaving, and he's looking over him at over his head, over Luke's shoulder. Now they're going to turbo lift. Din Djarin's got a tear in his eye. And then you see it just ends right there, or so you think, because this is the episode, by the way, directed by Peyton Reed. When you see the ending, there's a post-credit scene. You go back to Tatooine, and I thought, hey, more stuff with Luke, or so I thought. And you see, I forgot what this guy's name is, not Masamita, Jabba's former Twi'lek slave, and you see Fennec Shand. She shoots the chains, freeing another Twi'lek slave, and then you see a certain Mandalorian come down, and he goes, "Boba, I thought you were dead. I'm so glad to see you. Heard many rumors," and Boba just shoots him. Yeah, for the life of me, I don't remember what he's called. See, I forgot his name. His name is Bib Fortuna. Jeez, how can I forget Bibs? So Bib Fortuna apparently was sitting on the throne with a bunch of Nikto bodyguard, which is interesting because I remember in the Aftermath novels there was another hut. It was so I guess Bib Fortuna became head of the Nikto cartel after Jabba passed away. So you see Fennec Shand kill all the Nikto bodyguards he had as a bounty hunter. He frees the Twi'lek slave. I'm hoping she's going to she runs away, and then you see behind her Boba. Then Bib Fortuna says, "Oh, I thought you were dead. I heard so many rumors. I'm sure rumors of the other Mandalorians, the Children of the Watch." And he's like, "Oh, so glad to see you." And then he shoots him in his face. I love Boba Fett. He's just a no-nonsense badass. And then after you see Boba sitting on the throne, Fennec Shand right next to him, drinking some spice wine or whatever, and the screen goes black, and it says The Book of Boba Fett, coming December 2021. Now, let me tell you guys something. That was awesome. Book of Boba Fett. I'm looking forward to it. And it's reason we were hearing rumors about a Boba Fett getting his own series, and they never mentioned it, and this is why, because it was supposed to be the surprise. Man, I tell you what, Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau are going to be busy with all the shows that they mentioned, and now another one. They're going to be so busy. But anyway, guys, let me know what you thought about this episode. I was excited. And look, like I said, for all the people who are going to come for me because I was wrong about something and speculate, even though I said this would be the best thing that made sense, sometimes you're going to go out there and give a guess, and it's not going to be 100% correct, right? But I have been correct about a lot of things. I should have thought to myself, well, because of the state of Star Wars before The Mandalorian, they wanted to give us a little fan service present. Now, did it make sense? Yes, it still makes sense. Luke is traveling the galaxy. This is 5 years after Return of the Jedi, so it's still before the Battle of Jakku, so he may not necessarily been relic hunting so much at the time. Kylo Ren, I don't believe he's been born yet. Could be possible that Leia's still pregnant with them, so he went later finding different relics with a young Ben Solo and Lord Santeca. So yeah, he might have just been a here distress beacon and then just went out. I'm sure he's familiar with titles. I'm sure he has gone to learn more of the Jedi, the sacred Jedi texts. So yeah, all in all, we got a new show. We got Luke. We know what's going to be the main plot of the next season. Now Din Djarin is the rightful ruler to Mandalore. Now, how's this going to sit with Bo-Katan? This has been her quest for a long time, right? And Din just like, I don't want this. And usually, here's the thing, in most stories, it's a person who wants it the least who is thrust this responsibility upon him. It's like Jonah in the whale. If you want to go in the Bible, Jonah in the whale. Jonah did not want to tell this city that they were doomed if they didn't change their ways, because he knew that, hey, you're going to forgive them and then they're going to crap all over me because I was saying that they're doomed. They're going to hate me. I don't want to do that. So he hid in a whale. He didn't want to accept his responsibility. He didn't want to take the boon that he was given. You know what I mean? Same thing with Din Djarin. Din Djarin does not want to become the leader of Mandalore. He never wanted to. Bo-Katan is chasing his whole life. Moff Gideon, being the sneaky bastard he is, he said, well, hey, if I'm going to lose, I'm going to make sure other people lose too. So he deprived Bo-Katan of what she wanted. Now she would have to fight Din Djarin. Is that going to happen? Is Din Djarin and Bo-Katan going to square off next season? And then with his alliance with Cara Dune, as far as what Din Djarin, how much of a stand-up guy he's been, him being the new leader of Mandalore would make sense going into the New Republic. So yeah, it was pretty amazing, all the things that we are getting. For everyone that was criticizing Kathleen Kennedy and what had been done, it's a lot of things. You have to have faith. And I know sometimes we look at things and it was her first time out. You got to remember, Kathleen Kennedy joined Lucasfilm when it was a very different company before the sale, and she wasn't really told about the sale until after the deal was done. So imagine, she had, when you go work with a company, especially if you're going to run it, and you're set to run one company, so you're think of taking one job, and now all of a sudden your company is under a huge umbrella. It's an umbrella company, so now it became a total different company. You guys got to imagine, right? So she goes from a company that has like no director except for George Lucas, right? And George Lucas was retiring. It was basically a toy and a merchandise company, and that was pretty much it. You had LucasArts, a little bit of the Clone Wars, and then all of a sudden now they have to have this movie out by 2015 because that's what Bob Iger said. And Bob Iger pretty much was the reason they rushed all these things out. Okay? So right now, as we've seen, they got their shit together. Now, might be maybe more problems with other directors? I don't think so. With the team of Filoni and Favreau together, I think they're going to mastermind the creative, working with the story group to carry Star Wars into the future. And they're going to be working collectively with other teams. And that's why they had all these different directors, I think, work with this Mandalorian, this series called The Mandalorian, because they wanted to know and give them the test if they could play in this sandbox, right? And still adhere to the rules. Like, here, you can, inside the sandbox, you can play. Here are the borders, here are the parameters. And we've seen them do that, and it's been amazing. So how great will this be now with all these different shows? We still don't know the director, I think, for The Acolyte, which is something I'm really looking forward to. But now the book of Boba Fett, I mean, I would lie to you if I wasn't excited. You know, what is Boba Fett gonna? You know, he's never been considered a Mandalorian. He doesn't care about Mandalore. Tatooine has always been his kind of home. He spent so many years as like just around Jabba. Is he gonna build up his criminal empire around there? And then how will this lead into? I mean, I'd like to see Boba Fett and his criminal empire going against Kanji Club. You know what I mean? There's so many things right now. Could we see another, because he's on Tatooine, will we see another Luke Skywalker make an appearance throughout all the different, I mean, will we get Luke one episode in each? I would like to see other Jedi, and apparently for what we were told, all the Book of Boba Fett, I would assume is going to be around the same season as Mandalorian Season 3, you know, Rangers of the New Republic, Ahsoka Tano. They said they're all this is gonna be like their movie universe, that it's all gonna build up into one thing, just like the Marvel's Netflix tried to do and did with Defenders, which was, I mean, it was okay, it wasn't that great with all of them. I mean, we can go into that some other time if I have another channel talking about Marvel and other Netflix shows, etc. But what Marvel did successfully with Kevin Feige building up into the Infinity story, right? So, I mean, I think the future's looking bright. I was saying this before. Sometimes you gotta have faith. It's hard with our fandom, but I enjoyed it. Guys, let me know what you think. Comment below, like and subscribe. I'm trying to make this real good, and sometimes I myself need a little bit of energy. And seeing you guys, your comments, engagement, talking back and forth, chatting with you guys makes it all worthwhile. I work like crazy hours, and on top of that, I'm doing YouTube, which if you've never done YouTube, that's a full-time job. If you want to know why the top YouTubers got the best type of videos, because that's pretty much all they do. And when eventually you start making money, you can have a team. I'm doing this by myself. So anyway, as we go forward, may the Force you will further your destiny. Speaking of which, I will have more videos, my Anakin Skywalker, the Old Republic series, and my Luke Skywalker Old Republic series, because I'm really feeling to hop back on my Luke tune and do a little bit more videos that I already have recorded. A lot of this stuff, I just have to get it out. Well, guys, this series of reviews will come to an end for now, but hey, we got more good things to look forward to, and I'm glad you guys stuck with me. May the Force you will further your destiny, always.